All right, good morning, 8th grade. So, it's really clear to me that no one is checking my videos, looking at that stuff. So, hopefully you're watching this one because I was on a Zoom call with quite a few of you guys yesterday. And no one had any social studies questions, which, that would be okay. That would kind of be exciting to me, except that then later in the day, Miss Young pointed out to me that I am totally on the wrong week. So I have been doing videos, reading to you and covering material that I actually assigned for next week, the 4th week of this quarter, not this week. And no one asked about that. I did get an email from one person who said that they and someone else were working together and they couldn't figure out something having to do with an assignment. And I was like, I wonder, that's weird. That's like next week's work. But she didn't connect with that this week's work was confusing or not this week's. Anyway, so sorry, my cat is putting his tail in front of the camera. Yeah. There we go. Hey, Hawk. I'll pick him up so you guys can see him. There he is. There's my kitty. This is Hawk. Say hi. Yeah. Anyway, so apparently this week is finance math. If you're doing the online version of that, I already went through and had pre-tested, doing the pre-test and the assignment, the first step of the assignment on there. So I've gone through that. I can answer some questions about that if you have those. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory and really walks you through the budgeting process in the 2-column format that they want you to use, which is where you set budget items and how much you're budgeting for your different things, and then you have your actual listing of your money. And then so when you make a purchase, say a grocery purchase, you have to take that money out of your account, but you also take it out of that budget portion that is for groceries. And then if it goes over, it comes out of your reserves as well. So it was a new method for me. I had not actually done that kind of budget sheet before. But I think it's very useful. And for some of you, that's something that you may want to use later on in life. So I printed out the paper stuff because I think that those of you who are doing the paper portions but are checking in online or sending questions, this is where people are getting confused. So I figured I should probably go through it so I understand every part of it. I was going to be doing that this weekend in preparation for next week. However, we're apparently already on it. So my thinking is if I go through it with you in a video, it should answer a lot of the questions. I'll be able to answer questions from people who aren't watching this video, but if you have access, hopefully, well, obviously, if you're watching it, you're already here. Yeah. Okay. So it says reverse budget for name. So you're going to put your name. I'm going to write my name. I wrote Miss Whitaker, not my name. Please write your name on your stuff, especially your Google Docs. I've been getting Google Docs that I have to look and see who last edited the Google Doc to figure out who sent it to me. Sam, that's you. And some other people, but specifically Sam. So either put your name as the title. Allie did that. She sent me something and the title, it was her name, so I knew exactly who it was. Or just put it in the document as if you were going to print it out and hand it in. So quite a few people have done that. Thank you. But if you haven't put your name on it, please make my life easier and make sure you get the grade you deserve. Okay. So reverse budget for Ms. Whitaker. Assume that you have now graduated high school and are living on your own. Woohoo! All right, prepare this budget, deducting only for things that you would spend money on. Items marked with an asterisk must be included. So you can't just decide that you're going to live in a cardboard box and you're not paying rent. Rent is required. That's what they mean by this. So the first thing is rent, which includes basic utilities, heat, hydro, and water. Oh, that's gas. Sorry. You know, that's what happens when we get budget sheets from like Britain and stuff. They use some different words. Okay, so your rent includes your utilities. That is fantastic. Doesn't happen very often here in the real world, but it does sometimes. My first apartment actually included it included most of my utilities. So it can happen, but not very common. Usually it'll include some or none, and then you've got to take care of that. So $600 to $800 private, or $300 to $450 shared. So you have to decide, are you going to have a roommate? If you're going to have a roommate, you can have a less expensive home. See? So we're looking at right here. So if you want to live on your own, you're going to spend $600 to $800. And if you're living with someone else, then it's the $300 to $450. Now, I really like those numbers. Not really realistic where we live right now, because an apartment here is a little bit more expensive than that, and then doesn't include those utilities. But it gives you an idea of how to set this up. So we're going to just go with their numbers. So I live by myself, and but I don't need something fancy. I'm just going to go with the 600. I'm going to go low end, but on my own. So I wrote down 600 here because I don't need a super fancy place. You know, I need the basics, but I don't really want to share with someone because it could save me money, but then I got to deal with a roommate, and there's all the hassles with that, and you know. So now we have food. They say food is $125 to $250, depending on the amount you eat out and where you buy groceries, etc. So like if you want more organic food, if you have a specialized diet, let's say that you are celiac, so you can't have wheat products, it's going to be a little bit more for your groceries, right? But, you know, if you're eating ramen noodles all the time, you might have some health problems eventually, because that's not the healthiest thing. But you're going to have a lower grocery bill. And let's be realistic, people who are out in the world, who are trying to get by, have just graduated high school, or are college students, you're going to be eating like peanut butter jelly sandwiches and macaroni. It's a thing. It's okay. Sometimes life is tough. But, you know, you work towards where later on you can have steak. So, I cook at home most of the time. I like to go out occasionally, but I do cook at home a lot. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to say $175 because that's in that range. I'm pretty basic. I like to cook my own food, so I'm not buying pre-prepared foods. A lot of the time I'm getting, you know, fresh vegetables, which aren't very expensive, and then I prepare them myself, so it cuts down on some of that cost. That's for the packaging and the preparing and the, you know, all that stuff. So I went with $175. You choose the amount that's right for you. Next is phone. We're required to have a phone. However, there's a note down below here that we have to have phone, but we don't have to have a home phone because a lot of people don't anymore. So you can choose to do the cell phone instead. You could have both, or you could just have one or the other. So see here where it says phone, it has the amount, and it says call this. Well, there's all kinds of extra things that we could pay for, but it says must include at least one phone or cell phone. So I don't have a landline. I do have an extra cell line right now that I use as a landline because it used to be my landline number. But I'm going to put an X there because I don't want to have a home phone. I'm not going to pay for that because why? I might as well just have my cell phone. So I'm going to go down to cell phone real quick here. It says it's $25 to $45 depending on long distance and features, call display, call answer, etc. Approximately $4 each. So, I don't know what those extra things are because phones just do all of that now. So I'm going to cross that out. Skip that extras thing, whatever. But I'm going to go with the $45 plan because I like having unlimited minutes or, well, unlimited data. It used to be minutes. When I first got a cell phone, you had to pay by minutes. And if you have prepaid, you still do. But, yeah. I like unlimited data. It's kind of important, especially right now where I'm making videos and checking messages all the time, no matter where I am. But going over is really expensive, and so since I have the option, I want the more expensive plan because it's going to save me in the long run, because they end up charging you a lot more for your overage than if you pay for a little bit bigger plan. So you don't want to have a plan that's too big, because then you're paying for stuff that you never use. So that's why it's important to check that stuff on data usage for your cell phone, for your internet. You can check those things, see how much you actually are using versus how much you're paying for. Okay, so I went with 45 on that. Cable, basic or digital and all channels. I don't have cable. I don't have satellite. None of that, no. Yeah, I have Netflix, and that's about it, because the world is changing. People still do have cable, people still have Dish, whatever, but I'm just going to put an X there, because honestly, I mean, I could do without. I spend a lot of time doing this, yeah. And I can watch stuff on YouTube, and that's free. Sorry, a bird flew by outside. Yeah. So I don't need the cable. I'm going to skip that because I have that choice. If you love watching your TV shows, that's totally okay. So you just put it on there. You put the amount that you want. So yours is not going to look exactly like mine, right? No. Because you're making your choices. This is about your life, and you got to do what's right for you, not what I'm choosing. All right. Internet, I definitely want high-speed internet, so I am going to pay that $45 for the higher-end one. Okay, so we finished all this basic stuff up top, and we're down at transportation now. So, we're kind of, you got to think ahead. So remember, you're living on your own. Like if you're down in Phoenix, buying a bus pass, totally reasonable, would probably be fantastic for you. We don't have that here though, so if you're thinking that you're living here, you probably need to pick one of the other things. Walking, not going to be a super great plan here either, because unless you live like in the apartments right by the event center, it's going to be difficult to get to places walking because our town is very spread out. So bike would be okay, or a new or used car. So, and then it says car prices vary a great deal and depend on amount of gas used, insurance rates, financing rates, etc. So this is your cost per month is what they're talking about here. So when they have the bus pass, you got to buy a bus pass every month. It's not like you buy one and you're good forever. A used car, you have to pay insurance. You remember we had the insurance agent who came in and talked to us. You got to be paying that insurance on a regular basis. There's minimum insurance required by the state, and then there's the liability insurance that goes above that. So you're paying insurance, you need to pay for gas because otherwise your car's not going anywhere. You may have repairs, whether they're regular ones like oil changes and filter. You gotta, windshield wipers. I gotta do that on my car. I bought them, just gotta put them on. Things like that are regular things that you gotta take care of. And then sometimes, you have an accident or especially with a used car, you might need to change out transmission fluid or your rear diff. Those kinds of things are going to be a much higher cost. So you need to calculate that in over time so that you're putting away a little bit, so that when that bigger bill comes, you're ready for it, which is part of, if you're doing the online stuff, in the reserve money. You're putting away money for unexpected expenses or when you go over the other expenses that you were expecting. So I'm going to go with a used car, and I'm going to go with the 500 though, because a used car is great, but it's worth spending a little bit more sometimes to make sure that it has lower mileage, that it doesn't have as much wear and tear on it when you purchase it, because then it's going to last longer. You don't want to put money into buying a vehicle that's then just going to break down and, be a liability to you, really. You want something that's going to be a quality thing, that's going to be safe and get you from point A to point B, and that's going to be reliable. Reliability is going to be really important. So I'm willing to spend a little bit more, that $500, on my vehicle, so that I have one that's a little bit nicer, and then also I'm taking into account that money for the insurance, because I don't want to just have the basic. I want to be protected if something happens. Yeah. Okay. Next is clothing. $100 to $300 can vary widely. Do you need work clothes? Yeah. Well, if you've just graduated from high school, depending on what kind of job you have, you might need work clothes. So a lot of times jobs that people just out of high school get are going to have some sort of uniform items that they provide for you or require for you to have. So like if you are serving in a restaurant, they might require you to have a certain kind of pants, and you're going to need to have good quality shoes. But a lot of times they will provide you with the shirts. So there's that. But like one job that I had when I didn't have a college degree yet, I worked in an office. And so working in that office capacity, I had to have nice dress clothes, because I actually would greet customers when they came in, and I was working in a real estate agent's office. So they want you to really have a business presentation. So when you have that kind of job, you would need to have, like suit type clothing, so that you can present yourself professionally. So that's really going to depend, but I'm good with having a few basic things. I don't need name brand, fancy stuff. I'm going to shop at Ross and get some good deals at the Walmart. So I'm just going to put the $100 here. Okay. Entertainment. $75 to $250. Movies, music, concerts, video games, books, etc. I'm going minimal on that. I already own a lot of books. And remember, I said I'm going to use my internet to watch YouTube, so I don't need to spend a lot. And then miscellaneous. Healthcare costs, gifts, travel, car repairs, gym membership, club fees, hobbies, daily snacks, renter's insurance, etc. There is a big bunch of question marks there. I don't know what they're going for. Honestly, they don't give us anything to choose from. And some of these I would put in different categories. So like daily snacks is really food. Car repairs, I already talked to you about. It should be under what money you're budgeting for your car. Renter's insurance, that is important. When you're renting, you want to have there's insurance that covers the building that your landlord will have. But if something happens, let's say there's a fire, well, their building's covered, but they're not covering your stuff that's inside your apartment. So you need to have insurance called renter's insurance that specifically covers the things that you own that are inside of that space. So that and healthcare costs, and holy cow, there's a lot of things, and they give us no idea how much that's going to be. So I'm going to say probably $200. We'll just go with that. Unless there's something else that you want to add on there. Like if you love giving extravagant gifts to people, then you better put some more money aside for that. I like making stuff for people. You know, it's not that I don't want to spend money on nice things for people, but you know, I'm a teacher, so I'm kind of limited. And I'm crafty, so there's that. All right, so our total here, we're going to add up everything in this column. So I'm going to add up mine, you add up yours. 6, 12, 14. You just got to watch me adding. Ooh. Okay, so my total that I came up with is $1,740. That's my total. And it says, note, this does not include amounts for tuition, childcare, loans, savings, etc. So it's done here. All right. Hopefully, since you just graduated high school, you're not paying for childcare. Please. I mean, it happens. That's the real world. But don't plan on it. Okay? You plan to not have that as a thing. Tuition, that's going to be your college money, and then any loans that you have, and you want to put money in savings. So I have $1,740. So I'm going to go to the back side now. It says, now, how much do you need to make in order to pay these bills? So it says, take your total amount of spending. So that was $1,740. Assume that you will work 40 hours per week full time. So 40 hours per week times 4.3 weeks per month equals 172 hours per month. Divide the total spending by 172. Okay, I'm not going to do this by hand. I'm going to actually grab my phone and use my calculator on there. You don't have to do it by hand, right? Use a phone, because what do your parents do? They use the calculator on their phone. All right, this is how much you have to earn after taxes. Okay, I divided it and I got 10.12. Now, you should only do it to 2 decimal places because we're dealing with money. Make sure you round properly because, yeah, money, right? We have to have equal number of cents. We're not going to do tenths of cents or anything like that. All right, so it says, this is how much you have to earn after taxes and other deductions. Assume you have 25% deductions, which is actually quite low. Multiply the amount in line 2 by 1.25. Okay, so I have $10.12, and I'm going to multiply it by 1.25. So it's 125%, basically, is what they're having us do. So that's how much I need to take home, plus I need 25% more. So that's why we're doing it times 1.25. And I got $12.65. This is what you need to earn per hour working full time in order to meet your lifestyle. So I need to make at least $12.65 an hour. So when I'm going to go get a job, it needs to pay me at least that amount in order for me to be able to pay those bills. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make some other choices, right? So let's say I can't get a job that pays that much. So I might have to downgrade that internet, right? Or I might have to not go out to eat, because I put some money in my budget for that. Or I might have to, I don't know, where else could I cut expenses? I might have to have a roommate. Might happen. Okay? So, now they ask you, what if you worked part-time? So you take your total amount of spending. That is my same amount, $17.40 in my case. That's from the bottom of the other side. Assume that you will work 20 hours per week, which is part-time. So half, and 86 hours a month. So now we're going to do the same math, but with 86 hours instead. So I'm going to take my 1740, divide it by 86 hours, and I get $20.23. This is, and then I need to multiply that again by the 1.25 to get that for my deductions. So I would have to have a job that paid me $25.29 an hour in order to work part-time. Do you think with just a high school diploma that it's reasonable I'm going to find many jobs that pay me $25 an hour? Probably not. So either I'm going to have to make some very different choices, or I'm going to have to work full-time in order to maintain that. All right, so I just went through this whole sheet with you, both sides. Hopefully that explained that. And then in order to make the videos not too long and make it easier for you to find stuff, I'm going to make a separate video for the budget worksheets for our people. So that's it for this video, and then I'll make another one for that other portion. Hopefully I was able to answer some of your questions. If you have more questions, remember you can always email or send me a remind message. And yeah, subscribe. I feel weird saying that, but like, subscribe to my channel. I made it public. All of my videos are public now so that you could subscribe, so that when I post new content, you know it's there and you can check in and get this information and help without having to send me an email, because you know it's frustrating for all of us when I don't get back to you right away because I'm busy, or you're asking questions that I already explained in detail in a video and I know you have internet access. So yeah, subscribe. All right.